My Fulfillment Team is a state-of-the-art inventory processing company. They're family-owned and operated. You source, we process, you profit. Anything that you guys can do, they can actually process. They process anything for Amazon, FBA, Merchant Fulfilled. They'll do Walmart, Shopify. They have their own proprietary software. They've been around since 9 years now. They have fulfilled millions of items. You can check them out at www.myfulfillmentteam.com. Why do the work when professionals can do it for you?
All right.
All right, guys, I have these two wonderful ladies with me today. I have the daughter, I think I said it right, Renata and Nechole. So Renata Darden and Nechole Whitlock have joined me today. Hopefully you guys are excited. They're going to be sharing a lot of stuff about women in power and their own experiences and what they've experienced in with their businesses and life, to just let you know that anybody can do this business. You guys know my story a little bit and where I came from, my background. I had an alcoholic father and things like that. You guys don't know this, but I've had a lot of that. Grew up in the welfare system for some time. A lot of people don't know that too, but it's just a matter of, you could, when you turn 18, you have a choice. You can go the way your parents are, or you can choose your own road. I decided to go the high road and do my own thing. Raised myself basically since the time I was 26. My mom passed of cancer when I was 26. My dad when I was 19 of having his 5th heart attack. So kind of grew up on my own. That's a little bit about that. Stop having tears over there. We don't have tears on this show.
Okay.
But I do have two wonderful ladies here. I'm going to do a little background on them, and then we're going to get started here, and I hope you guys are real excited. All right, I have Nechole Whitlock, and I have Renata Darden. Nechole's bio: Nechole Whitlock founded eCommerce in 2014 and never looked back. At that time, she was desperately searching for a solution that could help her address the financial challenges of being a single parent caring for 2 special needs kids. God bless you. Medical needs, therapies, supplements, and special diets. She likes to show others how to use their profits to cover their financial needs and prove there are many ways to do e-commerce. Amen. Renata Darden is a single mom, also with a knack for making money in unconventional ways to household needs and family wants for her and her 2 active boys. She has been selling on and offline for more than 20 years. I've been 30. You do good. And loves the flexibility that being an e-commerce entrepreneur allows her to have. And that's what we're going to talk about, the flexibility and controlling your own destiny. So she can devote more of her time to her sons. These successful e-commerce women will cover a few different topics, all PG, such as how a woman can be successful in e-commerce, how to be intentional in your business, and how to strategically prepare for Q4, and how to use our gifts to be more successful. Woo! That's a mouthful. We'll have 2 copies at the end of the show. We're going to give away a 90-day eCom planner and an eCom Q4 Summit shirt, and Bianca will be in charge of that. She's going to do a drawing for those 2 things, and we'll give those away. All right, guys, welcome, and I'm excited to have you guys here, and welcome to show number 107.
Wow, I love it. I'm so glad to be here. I'm glad that you invited us. We are so excited to share some time with you today.
And I'm excited to have you guys here. I know you guys prepared a little bit of a PowerPoint, and we're going to have a Q&A. So if you guys want to get started, and I said a little bit about your bios, but there might be something that you want to share with my audience that they may not know about you. They may not know anything about you, but they certainly know about your background. And like I said, the one thing that I know is very challenging from having it in family is having handicapped kids or challenging kids with those type of disabilities and things like that. So I commend you for not only taking on that responsibility, which a lot of people are really uncomfortable with that, but also making a difference in the world for not only your family, but for others. And Renata, stop having tears up there. I see them, they're just not coming out.
We have both had very, very, very long days. We don't have a presentation, but we do want to talk to you about a lot of stuff. You've already introduced me, but I do want to share just a little bit more about myself, if you don't mind, for just a second.
Sure, absolutely.
So I also, as part of this journey that I've been on, we've participated in so many different other opportunities prior to even getting into e-commerce. And that was one of the things that we're going to talk about is how did we get here. But as part of this long journey, and we'll talk about that in more detail, one of the things that I also created was the eCom Seller Summit and the eCom Q4 Summit, because I knew, like myself, because of my kids, I can't always travel. A lot of people, there's some great conferences, e-commerce related conferences out there, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to go to those, but they can't. So I created those as well as an opportunity for people who can't get out to be able to attend conferences online.
Yeah, you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing things in the e-commerce world.
If I could just piggyback on that, I mean, Nechole has done a fabulous job. She's such a visionary when it comes to how to get this information out to the masses. But I encourage every one of your viewers, find your people. We're so glad that JB was able to get registered for the summit, and that's how he found us. So we were talking offline right before we got started. We're elated that he found us and invited us here. But, find out who it is that's going to actually resonate with you and be able to help you along your journey. There are so many ways to do this. And, we'll talk about some of those as we continue today, but so many ways to do this. We want to make sure that people are encouraged.
Yes.
And hopefully our stories and our testimonies are just a small bit of, what's possible, but hopefully people are encouraged to not give up and to find the people that resonate with how you want to do this.
Yeah. And I kind of know Nechole's story a little bit because reading her bio as far as her why, because I know that you have to have a strong why to do anything. You have to be committed to a why. I have my why in front of me every day. My why to me is helping others and watching them being successful and being able to see my grandkids whenever I want, wherever I want, however I want. With no one telling me that I can't leave in the middle of the day to go see my granddaughter play in a dancing recital because I have a job to do. Now, there's nothing wrong with you guys that work jobs and do those things, but for me, I wanted to control when I could see my grandchildren and when I could see those things that I didn't want to miss. Everybody doesn't want that. You may want to just be able to pay off an extra mortgage, or you may want to just be able to travel. Whatever your why is, you have to have that why. If you don't have a strong why, you're not going to stick with it when you have the ups and downs, and you're going to have ups and downs. And Renata, I know Nechole's why, but I'm real curious of what your why is and what drives you.
Right, absolutely. So I've got 2 teenage boys, and they are my absolute sunshines. They do, I mean, we together. And so when they were young, I mentioned 20 years, I had a full-time job, but I spent a lot of time in trying to get that legacy established and finding, I call them side hustles. So I am the side hustle chick extraordinaire. Always had something going on the side because I wanted my kids to see, that the way that I did things. You talked some about your background. Nechole and I grew up together. We grew up in a very poor part of town, but just the things, the experiences that we had as youngsters, our parents weren't always able to afford us things like vacations and, spending time. I was super active as a young child too, but I can tell you years of all sorts of activities, all sorts of sports, my parents were never at any of them because they worked all the time. And so even though I was very loved and my parents were very supportive when they could be, they weren't there physically. So I had kids late in life, but I wanted to be there for my kids. So I didn't work very long. Once I had kids, I had one son and went back to work. And when I had my second son, I never went back to work. I decided that it was more important for me to be home with them, teaching them, raising them, and finding things that I would be able to do to support them, not just financially, but emotionally. So in my bio, when I say active, I mean my boys are active. They're into a little bit of everything. And so when they were younger, it was super important to me to be able to be at the PTA meetings and understand what was going on in the classrooms and be able to help them with homework. So I'm happy to report I've got 2 straight A students. I've got kids that are very well respectable and very well mannered. And, a lot of people take that for granted. And for some people, that's not a big accomplishment. But for me, my boys are my ministry. And so when we're able to take a trip together and I'm able to show them different parts of the world, something outside of them, when I'm able to volunteer with them, when I'm able to go on a field trip with them and actually be there to answer their questions about things, whether they're things about nature. We just took a field trip with my 8th grader to Baylor University. He's interested in Baylor. But when his class took him, I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there to see what interested him. I wanted to be there to hear what his questions were. You talk about a why, that flexibility is my be all and end all. That is my driving force. They're older now, so I'm not at their school as much, but it was 96 degrees here yesterday. I love having the flexibility of saying, you know what? I'm going to take it to a park and work today. I'm going to go outside on my back patio and work today. I love that flexibility. I want to be able to be in control of my day, whatever that day may bring. And so every day that I wake up, I'm thankful that God put me on this side of good green earth, and I want to make the most of every single day. And I don't want to spend my time, energy, and all of my focus on what someone else's dream is. I want that to be about me and my family. And so that is my why.
Folks, you were just listening to the Side Hustle Chick wisdom. I wrote Side Hustle Chick. I like that.
That's it.
So
we actually own that domain, Side Hustle Chicks, but yes.
it's in there now. I love that. I like that little thing. So we all have people that we look up to and that inspire us. Who were the ones that got you guys started and inspired you? Like I have the ones that I've always looked up to, you know, some of the big time players, and always seeing what they're doing and kind of putting my twist on those type of things. Who are some of the people, for the people that are going to listen to this now or actually that are going to see the replay, who are some of the people that got you going and inspired you to do what you're doing now?
Well, years ago, I started watching Cody Hawk. And so I was actually, like I said, doing eBay for a very long time. There were some things that, you know, I would subscribe to, and I'd buy things back when they were on DVD and watch different things or whatever. But when it became super easy, just, you know, people were live streaming what they were actually doing, and I was able to see what was working for people. Like you say, I'd like to take those things. It didn't always fit into my lifestyle. I had young kids at the time, but I was able to take what I could from those people's experiences and twist it up, you know, flexibility, and make it work for me. So Cody Hawk is one of them. And then now there's so many resellers out there and so many platforms. I subscribe to a few different channels, but I like Reezy resells, and I still follow Cody Hawk.
Well, when I first got started, and I started about 4.5, 5 years ago. I feel like it's 5 at this point, but well, it was 2014. So yeah, 5 years ago. My mentor at the time was part of a company that we were all part of, and her name is Nikki Witherspoon. And the thing about me is I did not know that I was going to be doing e-commerce at that point. I was actually doing network marketing. I was doing a couple of other different things, and I was just trying to raise money for their therapies, just trying to raise money for the deductible, just trying to raise money for other stuff. And so when I finally got into e-commerce, it is flooded with men. And there weren't a lot of women out here doing e-commerce. And so she was known as the FBA Ninja. She was the first person I was introduced to. And she was the first woman that I started following. There's a lot of male options. I follow Cody Hawk as well. Initially, when I first started, I haven't been following him lately, but when I first started about 5 years ago, I was following him. And then there was another lady by the name of the Amazon Queen, Becky Timms, and I started following her. Again, for me, it was about trying to find women who were doing this, because it felt like it was a male-dominated, you know, kind of environment, and I wanted to see if there were women that were successful doing this as well.
Who'd you say was the Amazon Queen?
Becky Timms.
Becky Timms? Okay, I'm just trying to see if I know any of these people. But it's interesting, like you said, it was a male-dominant type of thing, but it's not so much anymore. There's a lot of powerful women that are coming in here and showing these guys how to run businesses.
Yes.
And that's just an awesome thing.
Well, I mentioned to you earlier, but Becky will be with us this weekend. Actually, we're joining forces with Becky this weekend to take some people out and kind of show from a selling standpoint or sourcing standpoint.
Right. And I was just going to say, yeah, there's a lot more women that are out here doing it right now as compared to in the past. But it's still very male dominated, but there's a lot of women that are coming into it and blessing. And I feel like my personal opinion is that women were made for this. And the reason I say women were made for this is because we take care of the household. We are the ones that prepare. We help to make sure that the house is taken care of. And so one of the things that we naturally do is we go out and we go shopping, because that's part of how God made us. Like, men are the hunters, we are the gatherers. And so I think we naturally have this gift within us if we nurture it, so that way, you know, we are able to find those great deals. We're able to find those great buys. We're able to, you know, bargain shop. We can piece together dinner. We can piece together clothes. We can piece together how to pay the electric bill. Like, we have this gift of being able to find solutions when it comes to, you know, money, and also using our talents and our gifts to make money. I
Yeah,
Nicole, I
absolutely.
got to interject here because I just had this visual of, I can bring home the bacon and fry it up and cook and gather and everything else, but that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, women are naturally made to do
Commercial.
that. From a biblical standpoint, that's what God made us to do.
Yep, women are taking care of men all the time. You don't have to tell me that. I already know. So the other thing that I find interesting too is that if you're gonna, like you said, you go to events and stuff like that. What people need to understand is these events, the speakers are great. Like when you host them, the speakers are great. But where most of the action takes place is when you network with the audience. You have to get in the audience and mingle, and that's where you're going to grow as a person. You're going to grow as a business. When I went to events and I started to, whether I was speaking at the event or not, when I got into the audience and just went to lunch with somebody different, just on purpose. And I was a very shy person at one time, but I would go sit down at a table. I didn't know any of them, and just, hey, this is who I am, and start talking to them and strike up a conversation, and then do it the next break, do it with somebody else, and keep doing it. Before you know it, you develop the chemistry with these people, and you also develop the confidence that you find out that they're just as scared to talk to you as you are of them. It's not like they're, you're the only one being scared. They actually are just as scared, and when they open up, they talk to you, and it's very, very powerful. The other thing I learned, quite a few years back is that if I go to a conference and I'm the smartest person in the room, am I going to learn anything?
You might, because you're networking with people that are out in the audience. And that's one of the things that we have done. Because we've hosted many different events, physical events, like we've hosted big events in Dallas and Houston, multiple in Houston, a few in Dallas. And we've had them in different cities, like in Atlanta. And these are like physical events where people register, rent get the hotel room, the airfare, rental car, all of that. We've done those, hosted those events, and we know how to do those. And then, being able to have that connection, to be able to talk to somebody, sit down and, hey, this is who you're product sourcing from. I didn't know that I could product source with them. How did you get approved? Getting those little tips and strategies, being able to have those conversations are great. And so what we want to do is like foster that type of environment and create something similar to that online. But yes, we've hosted physical events, online events, and our physical events got upwards of 200 to 300 people just attending on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, hosting these physical events, what are some of the challenges that you see that for the folks that go to your events? What are some of the challenges that they seem to be facing that you guys have been able to provide for them?
Well, sometimes it's about just getting started. We've had events where people come to the event and like, okay, I've really been wanting to sell on Amazon, but I just don't even know how to create my account. So at a physical event, you can have that sidebar conversation. It's open session. We have a networking opportunity. You can sit down with that person and say, okay, let's get you on your hotspot. Let's get your account created. This is what you want to populate, blah, 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 blah. For some people, it's about creating that first shipment. So we've hosted events. We had a huge event in like 2015, I want to say October 2015, and where all we did was help people create listings all day long, whether it was taking pictures and helping them to clean up the background, because we took them on a giant Shopping for Profits event. It wasn't just us, it was part of a company that we were part of, but our team, which was with the FBA Ninja, our team specifically, we took like 5 Greyhound buses full of people to a Five Below. And we literally helped these people. They came back to the hotel. We helped them create their listings. We helped them take pictures of the things that they just bought. Some of them we helped create their accounts. And they literally sent out their shipments from the hotel. They made boxes. We taught them how to make boxes. We had them print out their labels, slap it onto the box, and then they left all their inventory at the hotel. And the hotel had the UPS or FedEx come and pick it up the next day. So it was an awesome event. So we've done everything from help people like create their accounts, create listings, learn how to clean a background on a picture, learn how to do your first shipment, to let's talk about how do I scale my business, having those types of conversations. How do I get into private label? How do I, just those specific types of, I'm not profitable. What am I not doing? What am I not doing that I should be doing?
Yeah, I just posted your eCom Q4 link up there for the people that want to check out more about what you guys do. I don't know if you have the link for the live events that you're talking about. We could post that up there too. I don't know when your next one's coming up.
Well, we have a small, it's just going to be a shop and learn. It's here. Now, we do a lot of the small ones. We've done probably over 50 of the little get-togethers, local shop and learns, like little meetups. And so it's a local shop and learn. And in all of the Facebook groups that we're in, we'll definitely share. We'll also share it on our public wall. So if you go to the Facebook page for eCom Seller Summit, we will post the actual location. But at that event, we're going to take you to a Five Below. We're also going to take you to a Dollar Tree. We're just going to do some quick scanning and listing potentially. We will also have like a little sit down discussion before then to talk through some of the basics and to answer any questions. What do you need to know about Q4? And so we host those, we call it Second Saturdays. We do it every second Saturday, but this time Becky is in town. So we're going to do it this Sunday because Becky's in town for another event.
So you're actually taking them out into the stores and showing them things.
Yes.
Brings up my point. I'm going to ask you something. I don't know if you know about this one yet. I might throw you off a little bit. You're basically talking retail arbitrage, right?
Retail arbitrage, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I used to do a lot of retail arbitrage before we got into our own private label brands.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that a lot of people don't know about and they don't do you realize that you can run a retail arbitrage business without any money? You don't need any cash at all?
Yes. We call it scan and list. You literally could scan and list.
Okay. So, all right, now share the pudding because I want to know. I want to see if we're on the same page.
Okay, so what I tell people, there's a couple of different ways in which you can do it, but one of the easy ones is to scan and list. So you go into the store. Well, first of all, you could do a little pre-research. So it's not just retail arbitrage. You can do online arbitrage, and you can physically like look up items that are, use your phone. Sometimes you can go to like the Amazon movers and shakers. So you can just Google Amazon movers and shakers or Amazon top 100, drill down into some categories and subcategories, scan the item from your phone, just pick up your phone, scan it. And then you can see, am I approved to be able to sell this thing? And you can also use other tools like Brookseek and some other tools just to see, is it local? And if it's local, how many stores? Now I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have an abundance of stores. So I don't have the issue of scanning and listing like other people, where I can just click on list from my phone, do merchant fulfill. And then when the person buys it, then I can go and pick it up, send it to the person, and then wait for Amazon to pay me every 2 weeks. Or if I'm selling on another platform, if I'm selling on eBay, whatever, I can pick it up and that way.
Yeah, see, for you, that's great because you have all those stores in the area.
I have an abundance, yes.
When you're out in Western Tennessee and there's more cows than stores, it's the same type of a thing, but a little bit more of a twist. And what we do, and I've been doing this for years, I think I was one of the first ones to do this. We actually go into the stores. We do the research, go into the stores, see what's hot in Q4, and we'll scan it, list it. We'll walk around that store for an hour and a half, and when it sells, we pick it up. And
Yes.
We're shipping it before the same day. It's going back to the warehouse and it's getting shipped. A lot of people don't realize. So, folks, if you're on here and you don't realize that it doesn't take money to get started with this, it just takes a scan app. Even if you don't have a scan app and you have a phone, you can call somebody up, say, hey, remember I don't know if you guys remember this. I know you have because you've been doing it for 20 years. It used to be the phone call. Hey, I'll give you the UPC. You tell me if it's a good one. We buy it. We don't buy it. It used to be one person at the store and one person manning the boat at the house or wherever you are, where you can that was old school. They didn't have scanning apps.
Right.
So it's just amazing. It's the same kind of a principle, but you just go in there. Like, for instance, Frozen 2 is coming out. Well, You're in there and you see Frozen 2 and you see its scarcity and you got supply and demand. You go into a Walmart and you say, hey, wow, here's a Frozen. Let me see. I'll list it, see what happens. And then you list it. It's $19.99. You see it going for $69. You just got to go right over there, pick it up, buy it.
Yep. And we tell people that all the time. And that's what some of the things that we taught them at the event that we did, the first real big, huge event that we did, is we were like, let's do scan and list, because some of these things can sell before you even make it to the checkout. Like you sell it before you even purchased it.
Yeah.
So just teaching people that. And so when we do our local shops, we teach them that. And then our bigger events, next year, we're going to be hosting a bigger event. We're going to do 2 bigger events where we have the opportunity to bring in people. And then we're also doing our online events. So we want people to have the opportunity to learn how to do some of these simple techniques and strategies, but we also want to teach them how can they scale their business? What are the different ways in which they can potentially do it? And Becky is really good at private label. She's known as the Amazon Queen because she teaches people how to do private label.
If I could back up just a little, when you asked about, some of the challenges that we address at our events, but this happens even now, some of the things that people are trying to overcome. But you'll have people that'll show up for one of a few reasons, but they just can't believe, that people are actually making money. You've got the people that are brand new, that have never done this. They're like, let me go check this out. Most of our events are very low cost. We want to be able to help people. So if they hop onto one of our events, they'll come out and just, even out of skepticism, let me see if there's any truth to this thing. And so one of the things that we relish in is the fact that we are able to bring a plethora of people from all different backgrounds and people that are addressing all kinds of their own issues with e-commerce. Like I said, mine being flexibility, someone else's may be, you mentioned just needing a little bit of a help taking care of a few bills, or they want to use that as their travel budget or whatever that is. But mindset is a big piece of what we cover, just because of the types of things that we're able, to address during our trainings. The other piece of that is networking. Nechole mentioned it briefly, but when you talk about the old school days, it brings to mind, even here, I'm in a smaller community than Nechole is, but even here, if I'm out and I'm out scanning, I've got someone here that I can work with while I'm busy scanning. I've got the scanner, I'm looking it up, but instead of taking, 15 minutes on one item to do all the research, I'll look it up. It's got a good rank. I'll call my buddy here and have her actually start doing the research on that, so I can determine how many we're going to buy. That sort of thing. If it's going to really be something that's going to move, we'll get on the phone right then and start trying to do wholesale. So it helps when you know that you've got someone else that can work with you. And a lot of times our attendees are finding those partners at our events. So that's another piece of, the challenges that people come across. Well, I don't have anyone to shop with, or I don't have anyone local that can kind of help me with this. And those people are finding their yin to their yang at our events oftentimes.
Let me ask you, ladies, this: do either one of you guys approved in hazmat items?
Everything is hazmat at Amazon now. So I have not dabbled in the hazmat items. Most of what I list, I do a lot of retail arbitrage. But most of what I list, I have a lot of top sellers that I sell over and over.
Right.
If I come across something and it comes up, and it's a keeper, then I'll go through that process. But I have not done that yet.
And I have not either. I've sold in a lot of different categories, a significant number of the categories, but I haven't made an effort to focus on hazmat, because again, everything comes up as, you got to fill out the hazmat questions. I will just say that.
Okay.
It feels like.
Here's food for thought for you. Hazmat. Why go through the whole process of getting signed up and getting approved for hazmat? All you need to do is find hazmat items, find an Amazon seller that is already approved, and why wouldn't you split it with them?
There you go.
It's being done all the time. You don't actually have to have the account. You don't have to worry about it. You just make the arrangement and you guys win. I guarantee that you guys, when you go on these trips, are walking by hazmat items that, because you don't sell on it. So here's something you can put into your courses and say, hey, listen, don't be afraid of hazmat, because even if you can't get approved, it really don't matter. You just got to know somebody that is approved and work with them.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I need to be coming to your event and speaking.
We talked about that. That sounds like a great idea.
Here we go. This Sunday, Dallas-Fort Worth, November the 3rd. So you can come. We'll be at 3:30. We'll be meeting from 3:30 to 6:30 or 3:30 to 7:30. But again, it's always local, and it's always, those are free. Like the little shopping events, they are always free. They're only about 3 to 4 hours, and they're easy because, people can just come in and participate, get some questions answered, and then take what they learned back home and go do it themselves. And again, they're coming sometimes just because they're skeptical, because like Renata said, like, is this thing real? Are you guys really making money? How much did you make last year? Like, okay, we're not doing this. So that's not what we're here for. We're here to show you how to do it.
So I'm going to back up a couple of steps, because I just want to make sure that I heard this clear. You said that you sell on Amazon and make money?
Oh, it happens a time or two.
Yeah, we get some kind of thing every 2 weeks. It's auto deposited, something like that.
There's no way to make money on Amazon. I mean,
there's no way.
How many millions of sellers? They just, fill in Amazon's pocket. Nobody makes money.
Yeah, and I crack up about that. But I'm like, there's some statistics about the number of sellers and then how many are still sellers. in a year or 2 years or 3 years. Like, there's a lot of people opening up accounts to be sellers. There are only a handful that actually continue to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it's you
There's
have to
enough
treat it
money
like,
for
you have
all
to
of
treat
us.
it like, I think people need to treat it like a business and not a hobby.
Absolutely. Look,
That is my quote all
JB
day
time.
long. I say that quote all the time in all of my training. You have to treat this like a business, not a hobby. You know, this is the real business. This business can pay your bills. It can pay your car note. It can pay your mortgage. It can pay for your kids' special diets.
Basketball fees.
It can pay for everything. It can be your entire life, and you don't have to have a 9 to 5. You could actually make money doing e-commerce. And I try to tell people all the time, like, if you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it will pay you like a business.
Okay. Now, here's the important question. For the people that are going to listen to this now, or they're going to see the replay, that are listening to YouTube and everything that you've been through, everything that you're doing, what can you say to someone that's sitting here that is on the fence, on the bubble, and they're like, Amazon, I tried it, I can't make money, or I don't know how to do it, and I don't know where to start, but I know I need to do this because I want to live the lifestyle that I know that I should live and that I want to live, and I want to be able to have that freedom of knowing that if I work for a corporate job, and there's nothing against corporate, I don't want my number to be up tomorrow. I want to make sure that my family is well taken care of. What do you say to those people? Because the ones that have been working, I find that people have been working at jobs for 20 years, 25 years. It's fear. It's fear of change because they've done it so long. And there's nothing wrong with working for a company for 20 years. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's the fear. You've done something for so long that you're afraid to take the leap. What would you say we could do to kick them in the, and I'm not going to say the word because it's PG, to get them moving in the right direction?
Well, one of the things that I like to tell people, and as you mentioned, a lot of it is fear, but people look at me, and I've been on my own now for almost 13 years. I've done a number of things. Like I said, I got a lot of side hustles, but e-commerce has been my bread and butter. And so one of the things that I like to tell people, if they have a job, is keep your job. You know, I don't want people to jump out here and start doing Amazon or any other platform for that matter, get frustrated, and then feel like, you know, we lured them into some pie in the sky thing that they couldn't attain. So if you've got a job, keep your job, start your side hustle. You have the funds, that's one thing, but you've also got your bills already paid for. So you can start this up, see just how successful you can be, especially when you've got mentors and people that truly care about your success, like we do at eCom Sellers. So you've got Nechole. She is a heart for this. She has a heart for helping people. She truly wants you to win. Me, I want to see people released from, you know, the bondage, I call it, of being able, you know, not being able to go to your kid's game, not being able, you know, to be at your kid's performance. So if you have a job, you keep your job, you start this up, and you get the help that you need to see just how much money you can make with it. It speaks for itself. Like I said, I've been out here on my own for a long time. But when people see me traveling with my kids, and we're on vacation every year, a few of them, you know, and I'm at their games, and it's, you know, my sons play on travel teams. So every weekend for 8 months out of the year, we're gone. And so I love the fact that I don't have to ask anyone for time off. I don't have to ask anyone, you know, is it okay if I go to my son's game, or, you know, ask someone to cover for me. But the thing about that is you've got to know, like you guys just said, this is my business. This is my lifeline. This is my, you know, this is how I pay all of my bills. And so if I treat it like a hobby, guess what? Some things ain't gonna get paid. Got to know that, you know, just like that there's a responsibility that you've got to your employer. You've got to hold yourself to that same level of accountability. You've got to set a work schedule. It amazes me that people realize I work from home, and then they think they can call me all day and ask me to run their errands. I have to turn my phones off. I've got to shut them down. I've got to shut down social media. I've got a plan. And in order to execute that plan on a day-to-day basis, I've got my budget sitting in front of me. So if I know that the bills from the things that I sourced have got to be paid, then I know I've got to get off of my PG word, off of my rear end, and make it happen. And so the best way to do that, if you've got a full-time job, you know, we don't want people quitting their jobs to step out, you know, and face their fears. but you find you a good network, you find you an accountability partner, you find you someone like eCom sellers that can actually walk you through this process, and you'll see what you're capable of. I guarantee you, you give this thing, we got a 90-day plan, but you give this thing 90 days of commitment, you will see what's possible, and you'll be ready to walk. Not ready to walk, you'll be able to ready to run out of there and into your own business.
Well, what I want to say is, I'm going to keep maybe a little succinct. I'm going to say that, for people who currently have a job, I tell them the same thing. I tell them, first of all, this business is simple. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it is simple. There's some things that you have to do. What happens is that I run into people who start this business and they started in Q4. They have an amazing Q4 and they feel like that's what the rest of my year is going to look like. But they don't know what it takes to be able to pivot and to shift, make adjustments to the business in order to make the kind of money that you need to make, and how they could use Q4 to springboard their opportunity to quit their job. So what I tell them is, okay, you had an amazing Q4. What I want you to do is I want you to work hard, focus. Let's make some adjustments to your business. Let's focus on these areas. Let's go do some research on these things. For the next 3 to 6 months, all I want you to do is I want you to try and get close to your numbers that you had during Q4. It's gonna require more work. It's gonna require more sacrifice, because there's potentially, depending on what you decide you want to tackle, it may require some additional work, or it may be even easier because now you have time to breathe. The one thing about Q4 is you're always trying to feed the beast. You're always trying to make sure that you're keeping your inventory stocked. So it could end up being easier for you. But I tell people, take January, February, March, April, May, and June, and let's focus 100% on your business for at least 3 to 6 months. I want you to start preparing for Q4 again in June. And I want you to put together an exit date and exit strategy. You need to have somewhere between 6 to 9 months worth of income. And if you have a family, I'd recommend you have a year to a year and a quarter worth of income on the side. But you need to be consistent in your business. So figure out a regular work schedule. That is one of the first things that I tell people about. Put some time blocks into your life. Tell your family, hey, I get off work at 5. I'm going to
I told you those grandbabies, they show up when they want. What a life.
That's right. But yeah, you have, I get off work at 5 or I get off work at 6. And so, yeah, I'm going to spend some time with my family from 6 to 8. And from 8 until 10 or 8 until 11, mommy or daddy is going to work 100% in the business for the rest of the evening. And I'm going to do that either Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, whatever, and then maybe some time on Sunday or maybe some time on Saturday. So you're consistently working in the business. You're consistently trying to improve your numbers, trying to find your steady eddies or your consumables, so that way, or replenishables, whichever term people love to use. I call them steady eddies. Some people call them different things. But anyway, those things that continue to give you money, and then you can add to your inventory, whether you're going to do private label. You got time to start working on that. Starting January, start working on a private label if that's what you want to do. If you want to decide that you want to do white label, or you decide you want to try print on demand, whatever it is, figure out what you want to do and work on that solid, hard focus with a consistent schedule for at least 6 to 9 months. Then maybe potentially make that transition to, being able to quit your job. So that's what I recommend. I think we're still alive.
Hey, what happened? He went and ran off with his granddaughter.
He did.
John is having technical difficulties right now. He's logging back in.
Okay, all right.
Well, look at here. Look at here, Nechole, side by side. Here's the side hustle chicks.
Well, JB, yeah, he's coming.
So keep talking. You guys are doing great.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So it's for those people that really want to quit, again, if you're wanting to quit your job, that whole focusing right after Q4, because you're going to have an amazing Q4. You need to be prepared to deal with returns in January. So don't be surprised by the returns you get in December and the returns you get in January, because it's going to happen. Don't start spending your money before you're prepared to deal with the return. So I'd wait until the end of January, maybe the beginning of February, before you start pulling cash out. And then put together your strategy for what you're going to do for the next 6 months to 9 months, so that way you have a goal. We're going to hit some goal numbers on how much revenue I'm trying to bring in, how many items I'm going to send into Amazon. If I'm listing on other platforms, Am I diversifying and listing on other platforms or doing multi-channel so I can, expand beyond Amazon? And you implement that strategy all of February, March, April, May, June. Around June, you want to pivot back, and probably in May, start preparing, putting together your strategy on what your tactic is going to be for Q4. So then that way, when September hits or August hits, you're ready to hit the ground running when it comes to Q4. And we teach people to start preparing for Q4 in September, well, before September, but we start telling them to start working on their inventory and doing stuff with their inventory in September so that they can have that shipment go out by October the 1st, and then they can just continue to have shipments going into Amazon on a regular basis. And I didn't know if Renata wanted to add more to that.
Yeah, I mean, you were going to be succinct. I at the beginning, but yeah, there are a number of things, and that's the other piece about it is, realizing that there are multiple platforms. So sometimes you got to get in this thing and you just kind of find your jelly. You list on multiple platforms, you see where things are moving. You list everything on multiple platforms, and if you know that you've got one thing that's not moving as quickly as you need it to, but it's moving over here, well, then maybe, and I like to tell people this. I don't know if John's going to get around to asking us, specific questions about the platforms, but I love fulfilling from Amazon. I love the fact that I've got things up there that they're actually holding for me and that they will still handle for me, but I can sell that thing from anywhere on any other platform and still have Amazon ship it out. So, if you get your jelly, you start to feel, what's comfortable for you. And those, that's what you run with. You don't have to do what we're doing. You don't have to do what the next person is doing, but learning from people that are actually able to make this work, then you can, tweak what you need to and make it work for you. But it absolutely works for those of you out there that may be skeptical.
Oh yeah, and you can get paid every 2 weeks. And then selling on other platforms, this is, again, taking the opportunity in February, March, and April, learning a new skill, learning a new platform, learning a new way to do e-commerce. So if you've always wanted to do wholesale or you want to take the opportunity to go to China, that's a great time to say, okay, I want to expand my business. Figuring out how to outsource aspects of your business. So as John mentioned before, they do fulfillment prep. So again, instead of your inventory, you handling your inventory, sending that inventory to a prep center, working on that transition, do it before Q4. So then that way you're prepared to be able to ramp up for Q4, placing orders from wholesalers, do all of that, while you have that window of trying to find what Renata calls it your jelly, of trying to find that groove, that sweet spot when it comes to your e-commerce business. So those are some of the goals that I tell people, let's work towards these things. What's your ultimate goal? What's the number that you're trying to get into an income where you want to replace your income? How much do you need to make? How much money do you have to invest? And be thinking about strategically, I'm going to, my money that I got from Amazon, now I have the opportunity to spend it maybe the second week in February because most of the returns have already flushed through. I've already handled all of that. And so this is the money I have to work with. How am I going to split that out so I can strategically work to scale and have better numbers for the coming year? So all of those things, we put all of that into play so that people have the opportunity to grow their business, replace their income, and be able to eventually quit. Put your goal day out there. So if your goal date is December 31st, what numbers do you have to hit? How much do you have to have in reserve? How many hours are you willing to commit each week? How much money do you need to be able to invest each month? What are the things you need to do to make extra money? Because there are ways in which you can make extra money. You can get loans if you want to, but if you're early in the business, there are ways that you can make extra money without getting loans. You can start off with selling things around your house to get rid of things that people are not thinking about. Old clothes. I sell old clothes all day on eBay. Poshmark, Mercari, selling on those platforms. Things that you know how to make. You can sell those things on Etsy all day long, learning how to take your talents, your gifts, your skills to be able to raise capital, to raise money. And then in addition to that, you've got some of the other platforms, you get learning how to get approved on Walmart and how to get approved on Amazon Merch, some of the other platforms. So again, working towards scaling your business, making that shift. But Q4, again, you don't want to be learning something new in Q4. You don't want to be implementing something new in Q4. If you nothing new. So if you've been doing it consistently well for at least 3 months, ride it on into Q4. Do not roll out new stuff during Q4 because it will slow down what your potential income could be. Now, if it's something that, again, you've had some success for a period of time, rolling out something new in Q4 is okay. But again, I'd recommend you do it for at least 3 months solid before you roll out something new.
Nothing new.
Nothing new. And then we help people all the time in eCom Sellers Academy. That is one of the businesses that we run. In addition to the 2 summits, is we have a private support group that there's a paid membership for eCom Sellers Academy. We also offer eCom Sellers Mastermind, which is a non-paid, it's a free Facebook group. And you can join that group and get tips and strategies. And we help people in that Facebook group as well. So I don't know, John. Hopefully.
John is almost back.
He's almost back. You love technical difficulties. So I was having technical difficulties before we started. I had to move where I am broadcasting from. So I understand, John. I had to reset up everything.
Nothing like live.
Nothing like live. So our next event, we have the local shop that we're doing. Then we're also doing second Saturday in November. It's here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Our goal next year is to have 2 bigger live events and not just the local second Saturday shops. And that's the second Saturday of each month. And then in addition to that, our eCom Seller Summit is the first week in March, and we hope to have an amazing lineup. Hopefully John will join us, and we can talk about prep centers, because I would love, we didn't have anybody the last 2 summits to talk about prep centers. And then in addition to that, our next summit after that is the Q4 summit, and that's going to be in August of next year. And we're going to focus on helping people get their game plan together for Q4 so that they can be successful in their business. So we want to help them implement Q4 strategies and techniques and be ready for Black Friday. So Renata, Black Friday is coming. What Black Friday tips or strategies do you recommend for them?
Well, the first thing is have your game plan together. Don't go out and just, whatever you see, you grab, that sort of thing. I like to do my research well in advance, even if it's, going out on Black Friday because of the sales and grabbing things that may not necessarily be, what everybody else is looking for, but that's a good time to go out because of all the additional sales. I like to do my research ahead of time. I like to know what I'm looking for. I like to have a path in mind. I don't just go from store to store to store. And if I'm looking for this, same or similar items, price matching, Black Friday is a great time to implement those sorts of things, because you may be able to knock some of the things on your list off at one store instead of running over to that second store. The other thing that I like to tell people, just because I am not the person to go out and mass crowds to, get this thing done, is those same things are going to be available online. So when they open those magnificent lists of things that are actually going on sale, I'm at the ready at my PC at midnight, ready to, go and drop those things right into my cart. I might do a refresh if it's already in there to get the price updated, and then it's off to, the checkout. I go. So have your game plan in mind. That's tip number 1. And also, be ready to get what you can before you ever go out. If you've got family in town, I encourage you, don't spend all, unless that's what your family likes to do. Some people have a family tradition of going out on Black Friday, but don't spend all of your family time, if you've got family coming into town, away from your family in the stores. Do as much as you can online, and then know that it's a big frenzy, but a lot of those things are going to be available later in the day. So I'm not, forego time with my mom, breakfast with my mom, coffee with my mom, to be out in the stores at, 6 or 7 in the morning, when I know I can go out at 5 in the evening and forego a lot of the crowds and still grab a lot of the actual inventory that I'm looking to put into my own.
Yeah. One of the tips that I learned from Sean Mayo is he talked about some of the Black Friday deals. He said some of those Black Friday deals are, we've known this only because we've done some of the research ourselves, but he talked about it on a regular basis, is that some of the Black Friday deals that are out there, they're not worth it from a dollar standpoint. So one of the strategies you can use is whenever Amazon has Prime Day, see what they're promoting or selling or whatever, see what kind of deal you can get on it, because some of those things you can use those as part of your Black Friday strategy. at a later point. So pay attention to what they were doing. That's one thing. Two, don't forget the stores allow you to do a boatload of pickup now. So, you know, Target has the whole pickup thing. Walmart's got the pickup thing. So you take advantage of those. A lot of us that do retail arbitrage, you know, you've got Shipped now. I forget, you've got TaskRabbit. You got all these people that can go do errands for you. So if you don't actually have a team when you're at a place where, okay, I can't get to 6 stores at the same time, and I really want to be able to scale up, or, you know, be able to get as much of this particular inventory as possible. So I'll use an example of, like, maybe it's the Fortnite Monopoly, just using that as a generic, or Jumanji, the game. So taking advantage of that, Jumanji, the game, and being able to, we lost everybody for just a second, being able to find people to go and buy all those things for you so that, hey, he's back. So that way you'll be able to sell a boatload. We lost Renata somewhere in the middle of this, but somehow we're glad you're back.
You guys did great.
We do a lot of talking.
This is the JB and N&R show.
And one of the
name.
Well, the lady, one of the ladies was asking what the name of our Facebook groups was. So our paid Facebook group is eCom Sellers Academy, and that is a subscription-based Facebook group. And then eCom Sellers Mastermind is the free Facebook group. And again, we provide support, we answer questions, we post information in there, tips and strategies to try and help people. So those are our we have other Facebook groups as well. We have the Summit Facebook groups and the paid Summit Facebook groups. So those are the ones that once you sign up for the Summit, we add you to those Facebook groups as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that link back. I had the link, but I'm trying to get it back.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So hopefully,
Nechole, you started this technical difficulties.
I was not trying to, JB, you have no idea. So I want to talk, I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff I'm sure you want to talk about, but I just have to tell people, look, things are going to happen in your e-commerce business, and things are going to happen in your life. I am the perfect example of things happening in your life. So I'm going to tell my story because it's already on my Facebook page. If you just
okay.
You would see it. So I started getting sick in September of this year. And September is when, you know, I am in the throes of getting ready for Q4. We're coming off of the summit. I'm starting my routine, bringing in my teams, because I bring people into my house to work in my business. And we start working inventory, making sure we have our orders coming in so we know what our timings are, orders going in, coming out. And I have 2 special needs kids, and one of my kiddos overflowed the toilet at the beginning of September. We cleaned it up, and it was the upstairs toilet overflowed to the downstairs. I didn't think anything of it. Well, what ended up happening was that toilet overflow created a situation that we could not see called mold. And so what I ended up having to do is I started getting sick. I had to move all of my inventory out of my house. We ultimately found out that I have mold in my house. And we had to move all our inventory out of the house and directly into a storage unit, and then cancel the teams, because you can't work in a storage unit with, you know, in your inventory. So again, being flexible, things are going to happen. So what are the other things that I can do in my e-commerce business that I know how to do? Well, I can continue to work in my e-commerce business in pieces from the storage unit, because again, I had to move out of my office just to do this presentation today, or to meet with JB. I could do print on demand. So what I want you to know is that sometimes, even when you are running your business and you've been running it full time for a long time, sometimes the totally unexpected happens to you. And you have to learn how to be able to persevere and to be able to overcome those challenges, so that you continue to make money to be able to pay your lights and be able to cover your businesses. But in addition to that, that you don't let all of, I guess, we'll say, don't let Satan win. Because if you've been successful in this business, you've been able to bless people in this business, you've been able to help people in this business, and this is your calling, this is what you're supposed to do. If you are a person that's looking to quit your job, don't become frustrated and just quit on your dream or your vision. If the vision is yours and God gave it to you, then this is what you're supposed to do. You just need to figure out how to do it and how to overcome and persevere through whatever obstacle is being presented to you. This is the absolute worst time. for me to be dealing with mold and to have plastic on my walls and to have stuff torn out and my inventory sitting in a storage unit. This is the absolute worst time for that to be happening. But it is also a great opportunity for me to be able to pivot in my business and to continue to make money. I'm still making money. I'm still doing fine. But again, I would be making it potentially just a little bit more had not all of this craziness happen. That's all right. You got to be flexible. So just be prepared for the unexpected. The things that people don't talk about in this business can be, IP claims from Amazon. We're like, oh, what is that? That's where you're infringing on a product that they're saying you're not allowed or approved to be able to sell it or get off of the listing. Things like that happen during Q4. It spikes really crazy like that. And it's okay. You move on with life. There's ways to overcome it. Other things may happen with your, shipments trying to get checked in. Somebody loses your ship. Amazon loses one of your shipments. Things are going to be interesting. But the thing is that remember, you're an entrepreneur. You overcome these things and you be flexible and it will be okay. It will be okay at the end of the day. Just keep feeding the beast or whatever platform, become flexible. Make sure you diversify in your business. And then over time, after you get out of Q4, make sure you're learning another way in which to do e-commerce. You create your own brand, you create your own store, you create your own whatever. So then that way you have a couple of different ways to generate money.
I agree. I'm talking again. Hey.
We lost Renata, but you're talking again. I don't know how we lost her.
Some of the other obstacles that are common in fourth quarter is Amazon with suspensions, and also don't freak out if you bought product and you send it into Amazon and all of a sudden it's restricted.
Yeah, don't freak out.
That happens a lot where when you bought it you weren't, but when you sent it there now you're restricted. You just got to figure out what they're looking for and get it to them. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting invoices from the manufacturer or supplier and taking care of it from that end. But you're always going to, I like to always say that in this business, you're going to have ups and downs. I don't like to say failure, but when you do say failure, I consider it failing forward. We never fail backwards, we fail forward. So every time, most of the successful people always fail. That's how you get better. That's how you learn. When you fail, you learn from it and you move on and you get better at what you're doing. And that's exactly what this business is. And I heard Nechole, I think, say something before I got kicked off the internet about not quitting your job. And she's absolutely correct. You don't want to quit your job. What you want to do is you want to have a game plan and you want to have at least 6 months to a year of all your bills, monthly bills, put aside so that you're able to, when this time comes, to be able to pay those bills and you have that cushion to do that. It's very important that you have that cushion. And one of the things that I've been teaching lately that I notice is a lot of this business is mindset. Yeah. And I'm going to start probably talking more about that as we go forward in the future, mindset, because I believe that you can't be in any business and be successful if you don't have the right frame of mind and you're not in the right mindset.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about that because I think it's very important that you understand that failure is not considered failure and success is not considered success. You have to be neutral. Whether you have failure or you have success, you want to be neutral. In other words, you don't want to get too hyped up over success, and you don't want to get down on yourself because you all know it's like, man, I had that big sale, and then all of a sudden, no, I got to return. And there goes that big sale. It's going to happen, but if you stay in a neutral position, whether you have success or failure, you're going to come out of it much stronger in the end. Having those ups and downs is like the roller coaster. You're going up and down, up and down. You don't want that. You want the line to be straight from point A to point B. Keep that line as straight as can be. Failure just means it's a failure. Success just means it's success. Don't over exaggerate either one of them, and don't let it ruin your mindset. Don't get all hyped up because you may have a great success and then you'll have failures. Or you may have 3 failures in a row and then you have a great success. Doesn't mean that this is not going to happen. Any successful people, Donald Trump had bankruptcy, 4 or 5 times? Everybody does this that has success and failure. They all do this before they become successful. And even then, I can tell you from Nechole's perspective and from Nada's perspective and my perspective, I feel every day. I still feel. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But the difference between an entrepreneur and someone that's not doing it is we're willing to take the risk. We take the risk because we know the risk is not, the reward outweighs the risk. In other words, the reward of what you can get is so much better than the risk factor. If it's not for you, then you don't do it. But for me, if I know the reward is much better and I can see and I have my game plan and I have my plan of action and I know where I want to go from point A to point B, then I'm going to take that risk to get to that reward because I know what the reward means. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out and risk not paying my mortgage or not feeding my family. It just means I have a goal in mind and I'm going to set that. A lot of people don't set daily goals. They'll set, the monthly goal, yearly goal. But I want you to think of this. If you were going to say to yourself, I want to have a brand new car by the end of 2020, how are you going to do that? If your income that you have now is not able to get you that, how would you do that? And how much do you have to sell on Amazon to get that car? Let's say the car is $25,000. Let's say that you do $1,000 profit a month. It's going to take you almost 2.5 years to get that car, right? What if you did $5,000 a month? Then it would take you less than 6 months to get that car. You have to have it laid out. You have to say, hey, and don't lay it out to where one product makes you $50 and you make $1,000 a month off that one product, because that could be unrealistic. What you need is 10 products that maybe do $5 a month. And at the end of the month, I'm just using a number. It may not do the math, may not work. And at the end of the month, you got $1,000, and then 2.5 years you got it. Or you have 20 products and you do $5,000 a month. In 6 months, you have that car. When you start to put it on paper and you start to visualize it, go to that car lot. Look at that car you want. Sit in it, touch it, feel it, smell it. Do everything that you need to do if that's what you want to do. And if it's not a car for you and it's a trip, look at the book. You want to go to Bahamas? Look at pictures, watch videos. Do whatever you need to do, and then understand it's going to take me $16,000 to take this family trip. How do I get that? And then lay it out. And once you lay it out, you'll see Amazon can be a very, very powerful vehicle to get you what you want, especially if you're selling multiple items of very small quantities. It don't have to be a lot of one item. It can be multiple of small quantities, and it adds up very, very quickly.
Absolutely. I agree.
Hey, you're back.
Yes, absolutely. We teach that all the time. It's like, you establish the mini goals and how much do you want to work to, you're going to work how many hours a day and what are you going to do during that time? How many shipments are you going to try and get out each week? How many items are you going to try to, how big are you trying to build your inventory? What is your profit margin? Like, know your numbers. And so I have this whole thing, it's a whole spreadsheet where we have, it auto calculates different things so you can see what your potential projections are. If you are consistent, you could see what you could be doing. It does an average of what the numbers could look like. So it's just amazing how you can establish mini goals. Every single day, you should be working towards something in your business. And that's why I tell people, put together a schedule, establish time blocks, focus on income producing activities during those time blocks so you can make this work for you.
Get a vision board.
Yes, get a vision board.
Get a vision board. Put here, all the things, see where you are, what it takes to get there. And I promise you, when you start writing it down and realizing that I want to have a house, well, everybody wants to have a house, but how do you get that house? What's it going to take to get that house? And start breaking it down in small increments, and you'll find out that it's not as difficult as you think to get that house when you have a plan of action attached to it.
Yes. So.
All right, guys, you have any questions? I know we threw a lot of information at you. I know Renata left. I mean, I think she just felt sorry for us and went off because we went off the air. So I think she just wanted to make it so that she wasn't left out. I feel her, and I know what that means. So
I didn't want you to feel like, something
felt
went
it
wrong
right
on
there.
your end.
I felt it. I felt that you did that for me. So that I appreciate that.
Mwah, absolutely.
Brianna's over there real quiet. I said, Brian, I said, listen, I can't get on. Can you tell them that I lost the internet and that I'll be back on? And she's like, oh, okay. I don't think she wanted to be saying anything, but she's a team player.
So she told us, she said we were doing a great job. She made that up?
No, I think that was sincere. Yeah, she's a genuine person. She's a really nice person. So we like the fact that she's in the office and working hard behind the scenes for everything that she does. We appreciate what she does for us.
Well, I would love for you to be part of the summit. So if you want to commit right now in March, I would love for you to come and talk about prep centers.
Where is it and when is it? March what?
It's online.
It's virtual.
Oh, the virtual summit?
Yes.
Let me look at that. Send me the link to it so I can look at it.
eComSellersSummit.com.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yes, I would love for you to be a speaker. Or
I heard something about fulfillment center too. I heard something about you saying that when I was trying to get this computer to go back and listen.
Well, that would be your platform. That's what we would want you to talk about. You got
Using a fulfillment center.
my fulfillment team.
Yes.
Yes.
We've got people that need fulfillment.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would absolutely, I could commit to that. I would absolutely come on and do that.
I heard it. You got a witness.
I heard. You guys heard it. He's going to come and he's going to speak about prep centers on the next summit, eCom Seller Summit in March. So
I will.
So we'll get a speaker packet out to
I would be
you right
honored to come
away.
and speak to your audience
all right.
and teach them how, not only about prep centers or my prep center, but how they can make more money using a prep center than sending it
Yes.
directly to Amazon.
Yes, you can make more money, and I agree with you.
Because Amazon doesn't allow you to do a lot of things. You can't, you can't put flyers inside things. There's a lot of things that you can't do that a prep center can do. Especially if it's your own product. We're not talking retail arbitrage. We don't want you putting stuff inside there. But
Yeah.
for private label products.
Private label.
And the other thing, a good prep center also, like I said, they're your advocate. They work with you and they see things that you're selling and they look and say, hey, maybe if you put these things together and try it. They try to get you to go wider with your product instead of deeper. Because a lot of people make the mistake and they'll be like, okay, I'm selling 50 a day, so at Christmas time I should sell 300. Well, what happens if somebody else comes on that or a counterfeiter comes on it? Then you have issues where you could say, okay, I got 50 of these. How can I sell 50 of something else, 50 of something else, 50 of something else?
Yes.
Then you're wider. And then if you have an issue with Amazon with one of your products where it gets restricted, you still have cash flow coming from the other. And that's what I teach. I teach them that you can't put it all in one area. And I know that you guys hear this as well. And it's funny because when you talk to any Amazon seller, you ask them, if Amazon came to you tomorrow and shut you down, what would that do to your life? What would that do to your business? They're all like wanting to go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah. No, we teach.
We definitely teach diversification.
But they're not. No one's showing them how to and what they need.
Yeah. And we teach how to diversify. We talk about different strategies. We also teach them, like you just talked about, bundles. So we teach about bundles and how you can use bundles to maximize your profits. Like you can get some ridiculous profits off of bundles. My last session that we did inside the group, because we actually do live training sessions. They're not pre-recorded. So we don't tell you to go log into the membership site and go there. They're actually live training sessions where we're showing you over the shoulder how to create the listing, how to make the image, how to source the particular item, we teach you that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I actually go into, like I said, I go into your summit and I've seen some of the speakers and some of the things guys, there's some good content there. There's some things that you really need to know. And for my audience and for your audience, they just need to know that you want to get in front of the people that are out there doing it and making it happen. You want people that actually have gone in the trenches and have done it. And you want to cut down your learning curve. You don't want to have to go through everything that I went through and everything that Nechole went through, because you know what? We've done all the work. We know the pains and suffering that we went through. We're not going to stop everything for you, but we can prevent some of those things that we've already experienced.
Absolutely.
Now, where is your prep center?
We're in Western Tennessee.
Western Tennessee. So near, because I have a lot of family in Tennessee. I've spent a lot of quality time in Tennessee. So where are you near?
It's like 2 to 2.5 hours in between Nashville and Memphis. It's almost dead center.
Okay. All right. A lot of my family is near Nashville. So, okay.
All right. So before we go, we do have 2 winners and we'll get you their information. All right. So the winners, and since
we're giving away 2 t-shirts. I'd sent her a correction, not the planner and the t-shirt, but 2 different t-shirts.
Okay. So we're giving away 2 different t-shirts, and I guess they don't get the choice. You just get a t-shirt. So
one is the eCom Q4 Summit and the other one is eCom Seller Summit.
Okay. So the first winner we have is Lisa Reed. Yeah. And Lisa, I will get this information over to Nechole so she can get your email and send you your t-shirt. And then we have Jan Zhang. How do you say that last name? Yan
Zang.
Zhang? Yan
Zang.
Zhang. I apologize if I'm not saying it right. He's the second one. We will get that email over to you too. And congratulations to you guys for being the winners. And again, guys, I put the link up there, prosellertalk.com/ecomq4. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. The content that these ladies share is top notch. They know what they're doing. They've been in the trenches. Learn from them. And if, above all, if you guys aren't doing it and you really want to, and you can get out there, I don't know, you guys, you do your shops in Dallas. Is that what you're doing it?
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are in the Dallas area, look them up. Try to get on one of these shopping trips. Those are fun. I've done those before. And those are fun when you walk into a store and all the managers are seeing all this whole group come in there. And they're like, what's going on? One thing I can
coordinate them.
One thing I can tell you while they're training, if they're buying stuff, buying creates frenzies. I don't care what you're buying. It doesn't have to be the hottest item. You start picking stuff off the shelf and a lot of people see you doing it. Before you know it, they're buying it because of impulse. They don't even want to buy it. They just buy it. It's so funny when I do retail arbitrage and I go clean out a shelf. And then this lady comes over and she says, can I get one of those? And she's like, and then all of a sudden she'll come back 5 minutes later. I'll go back. It's back on the shelf. She just had that moment because all of them were going. She had to have it. It's just funny how you create buying. I was in sales many years ago before I started this. And that's one of the things we used to do is have staged people on the sales floor buy stuff and create frenzies. And it would make the shoppers just go crazy and they would buy. And it would just boost those numbers right up. Now, I'm not happy, but I was told to do it, so.
Yeah, that is so true. It is so hilarious, especially when you walk in with a group, because I normally coordinated with the store managers. You know, you walk in with a group of 20 people or, 30 people, and all of the people have carts and they're all buying. And then the customers that are already in there are like, what are they doing? Well, what are you doing that? Well, what do you use that for? I'm like, what? I'm like, you're like, why are you interested? They're like, well, what are you going to do? Are you guys getting ready to buy some stuff for an orphanage or something? And I'm like, no, this is just for us.
It creates a frenzy. It really does.
Oh, it does. It does.
Kind of funny. It's kind of funny when they see me go in and wipe out a whole end cap. That's just hilarious.
It is hilarious.
We went into a Walmart one time and they reduced Legos to like 50%. And they had like all these tables in the front of the store. There must have been like 14 tables. And I was on the phone talking to my son, and I told him, I said, they just reduced Legos. And I said, what do you want? He said, so the guy is literally reducing them as he put them on the table. And he just stopped because I was taking everything. I filled out like 20 carriages. And he was like, everything. He just stopped his gun because he was like, why am I doing it and setting them up on tables if all you're doing is clearing out my tables? It was just funny. That was one of the good times when Lego was really had the value. I mean, there's a lot more people on Lego now, but back then, it was really, really good. Now Lego is one of those like buy and hold type things. And we talk about buy and hold too, where you buy things now and hold it for when the price comes back up. And that's just another part of the, a business model that people can use that have money is you can actually buy things and hold them. We've had toys where we've held for, 2 or 3 years that were like $20 and now the toy's discontinued and it's worth $180.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I have, what does that have, Renata? I keep forgetting the name of it. It's Rocket from Little Einsteins and all the little 4 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's worth some serious bucks.
Yeah.
Rocket, and I got the little Team Umizoomi car and the 3 little characters that go with it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You have that.
And it's all supply and demand.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
It's when there's, when there's demand and there's very limited supply, it again creates a frenzy where they want it. I mean, I've seen crazy stuff that I was like, I would never buy that at that price, but collectors, they do. They want it. Or at Christmas time, I find Christmas time, what happens with there is that people go in, the husband or whoever it is forgot to buy it. They said they're going to buy it. They wait till last minute. And then at that point, the wife just says, listen, I don't care. You're getting it because you told me you were getting it and you waited until last minute. And I don't care if it's $500. And me being a husband, I would be buying it, just say, okay, I don't have to listen to that anymore. I'm the one that made the mistake by not buying it when I was supposed to. So now I got to pay a price and keep the peace in the house.
Life happy.
All right, ladies, it's a pleasure having you here. We're running about an hour and 20 minutes, so we're going to let you guys go. Last words, I always give my guests the last word. Last word for somebody getting off of this show or just going to see this on the replay. What would be the one thing that you told them, especially we know Q4. I mean, Q4 is go time. I mean, if they were ever thinking about doing this, Q4 is the right time to do it. What would you tell them just to get that push?
Well, I would say e-commerce is more than, just one store, the stores you're thinking of. If you've got, a why, then there is a way. And e-commerce has worked for us. And if it's something that's interesting to you, then you can make it work for you. So, get off of your duff and come join eCom Sellers so we can show you how to do it.
And the link is in the chat where you guys can go join that. I thank you ladies for being here. It's been a pleasure having you here. I love your story. I love what you're doing to help other sellers. I love the fact that you have those events. I like the fact that you get in there and you're real and you're live and you teach live so that these people can have that impact of having a person in front of them. I think that's more important than anything, is to be able to put a face to the person versus to do something like this where I just talk and you don't see me. Very, very important and it's very, very genuine. And I think people like to see that and need to see that more and understand that there are people out there that are willing to help them. Again, thank you for joining me. Guys, until next time on the JB Show, God bless as always. I wish you well in your businesses and we'll talk soon.